In a small village on the edge of the savannah, where red earth met tall whispering grasses, lived a young Nigerian girl named Amina. She was known in the village for two things: her kind heart and her endless curiosity. While other children played from morning till night, Amina loved to wander near the old baobab tree behind her father's farm, listening to the sounds of nature. One hot afternoon, as the sun rested heavily in the sky, Amina heard a strange voice, "Amina. Amina." She froze. No one was there. "Amina. Help me." Slowly, she followed the sound until she reached the baobab tree. Hidden among the thick branches was a bright green parrot with red feathers on its wings. One of its legs was caught in a thin hunter's rope. "Oh, you poor thing," Amina whispered. Carefully, she untied the rope and freed the bird. The parrot flapped its wings, circled her head once, then landed gently on her shoulder. "Thank you, kind child," the parrot said. Amina screamed and fell backward. "Why, you can talk." The parrot tilted its head. "Not to everyone. Only to those with clean hearts." From that day, the parrot followed Amina everywhere. She named him Zaki, meaning pure. Zaki told her stories of the forest, of hidden rivers, lost paths, and dangers humans could not see. He warned her when snakes were near and guided her whenever she went far from home. One evening, Amina's little brother went missing while fetching firewood. The village searched, but the forest was dark and dangerous. Amina's heart beat fast with fear. Zaki suddenly flapped his wings wildly. "I know where he is. Follow me." Against everyone's warnings, Amina ran after the parrot into the forest. Zaki led her through twisted paths until they heard faint crying. Her brother had fallen into a shallow pit covered by leaves. "Amina, I'm scared." With all her strength, she called for help and kept talking to him so he wouldn't sleep. Soon, villagers arrived and pulled him out safely. From that day, the village no longer saw Amina as just a small girl. They called her the child the forest listens to. As for Zaki, on the morning after the rescue, he perched on the baobab tree and spoke softly. "My work here is done. Will you leave me?" Amina asked, tears filling her eyes. "I will always be near," he said, spreading his wings. Kindness creates bonds that distance cannot break. With that, he flew high into the golden sky. Amina watched until he disappeared, smiling through her tears. And whenever the wind rustled the leaves, she felt she could still hear his voice calling her name. Months passed after Zaki flew away. Life in the village slowly returned to normal. Children played. Farmers went to their farms. Drums sounded again at festivals. But Amina was no longer the same. She still visited the old baobab tree every evening, hoping to hear the familiar voice. Sometimes the wind would rustle the leaves, and she would smile. "I know you're near," she would whisper. One season, something strange began to happen. Animals started running out of the forest in fear. Birds stopped singing. At night, heavy sounds echoed from deep within the trees. Then villagers began to fall sick, strong men waking up weak, crops drying overnight, streams turning dark. The elders gathered. "The forest is angry," one of them said. "Something evil has entered it." Fear returned to the village. That night, as Amina sat by the baobab tree, tears in her eyes, a familiar voice spoke again. "Amina." She jumped up. From the darkness, a larger, more radiant parrot emerged. His green feathers now shimmered with gold. His eyes glowed softly like moonlight. "Zaki." She cried. "I told you I would always be near," he said gently. "But now, I need your help." He explained that a shadow spirit had settled near the hidden river, poisoning the forest and feeding on fear. The animals could not fight it. The spirits of the trees could not cross into the human paths, but you can, Zaki said. Because your heart belongs to both worlds. Amina was afraid. But she remembered her brother in the pit. She remembered how kindness had brought her here. "I will go," she said. Before dawn, Zaki led her deeper into the forest than she had ever gone. The trees grew taller. The air grew cold. They reached a blackened stream where the water no longer reflected the sky. From it rose a moving shadow, twisting like smoke. "Go back, child," it hissed. "This place is not for the living." Amina's legs trembled, but she stood her ground. "You don't belong here," she said. "This forest gives life. You bring only fear." The shadow laughed. and the ground shook. Darkness rushed toward her. Suddenly, Zaki flew in front of Amina, spreading his wings wide. They glowed like fire. The baobab leaves around them began to shake. The forest answered, "Place your hand on the earth," Zaki shouted. She did. Warmth rushed through her body. She felt the trees, the roots, the rivers, the living breath of the land. "Now speak," he said, with a shaking voice. Amina spoke from her heart. "Forest that raised me, land that feeds us, I ask you to stand." The ground glowed. Light burst from beneath her hand, racing through the roots, wrapping around the shadow. The dark spirit screamed as it was pulled back into the earth. The black water cleared. Birds cried out. Wind rushed through the trees. Silence followed. Then life. Zaki landed weakly beside her. "It is done," he said softly. "But my time in this form is ending." "No," Amina whispered, holding him. "You were never meant to walk only as a child," he said. "You are now a voice of the forest. When people forget to listen, you will remind them." His body slowly turned into glowing feathers, rising like sparks into the air. "Amina," his voice echoed, "kind hearts never walk alone." When she returned home, the sick recovered. Crops grew again. The stream became clear. Years later, Amina became a guide, a healer, a storyteller. Children gathered under the baobab tree to hear her speak, and sometimes, when the wind moved just right, a green feather would fall at her feet. She would smile, because she knew Zaki was still watching.